Okay, so now I'm going to finish off my color font treatment just by saving it. I turn off everything except for the type that I want to keep. So that means I'll turn off my image. So it's just this. I save that as an EPS. And this time it's the color text on its own. And now I should have 2 EPS files on my desktop once this finishes. One that is color, one that is black and white. And I'm going to open those both. I'm just going to double click. Oh no, I'll open them both with Photoshop just so I can load them up to Photobucket. And I'm going to make them print quality, so 350 pixels per inch at RGB color. And then same thing, 350 pixels per inch, RGB color. And then save as a PNG so that the transparency is still there. So I've got my black and white PNG saved right here. Looks like that, looks good. And now I want my color PNG saved. Notice because I had the image as part of the same layer with this EPS, it gave me a lot more space. So I'm going to crop it down. Maybe even give it a little bit more empty space, even though it's a PNG and it's transparent. And then I'm going to save that as a PNG to the desktop so I can upload them to Photobucket. All right, so those are what we upload. Our black and white font solution and our color font solution. And our next job is to combine it in Photoshop with our image to get the poster we want. So a poster is basically your spot illustration with your text, but then you have to add a background and maybe some sort of border around it. So we've got all our elements now, but we're going to use those in Photoshop. So first I got to find my original files. And I'm going to find my PSD version. So there it is. Oh, that's not it. That's just the sketch. Right over here it is. All right, and now I'm going to bring in my color. Not my PNG, my EPS, because I want it to be fully scalable as a vector. There we go. Place it, but it's a smart layer. Want to see my layers always. I'm going to go ahead and put my color text solution on the very top. And I can play with all these different coloring options. Okay, right now I just have a gray background. Maybe I want more. I can always play with more effects. I'm going to put a white stroke around the dove. Maybe even a drop shadow. Or maybe just a drop shadow. Maybe a very thin stroke. There we go. I can do that same thing with my text. Put a stroke around the whole thing. Put a drop shadow underneath it. Help it show up a little bit better. In Photoshop, you can put your stroke towards the center of the vector shape, towards the outside, which makes it wider, or towards the inside, which cuts into it. So you have a lot of flexibility with your effects, your layer effects in Photoshop, which can be a really, really nice tool. And you can always just turn them off as well. Kind of like that. Looks a little more haphazard. You can always tilt the whole thing. Because it's a smart object, you can't warp it, but you can play with other distortions. You can even skew it, like pull it off one side to the other. So if I wanted it to be almost italicized, I could skew it to one side. Place it a little differently. Of course, you can always scale it. So it has a little speed going on. And still it's a vector, so no matter what you do to the image, it will always rasterize at full resolution and be as clean as possible. And you can always just turn effects off and on. And keep modifying them as you need. All right, now to finish off the poster, all we need to do is play with the background and put a border around it. So that will be our next step. So I just want to save this in Photoshop for the time being. Maybe I'll crop it first. And the next demo will be just texturizing it and putting a border around it. So it's a finished poster for us. And we'll play with some other cool effects as well, like half-toning it. All right.